You're listening to Filmmakers Drinking Bourbon. Hey, what's up, World Wide Web? It's Brandon.
And this is Alex.
And we're filmmakers.
And we're also drinking bourbon?
Beer? Burbeer?
Burbeer?
Burbeer.
What is this?
We are drinking
What do we got?
Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale. Let's give it a sip.
All right.
Man, that's good.
Refreshing.
That is good beer.
So we've been teasing this for a while.
Well, we have. And right now we are finishing up the month of November. As you know, Thanksgiving is right around the corner, as in tomorrow.
So, yeah.
And it is...
When you hear this, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy
because it's
Thanksgiving.
already happened.
And we are right in the midst of a podcast takeover, bourbon takeover, with Alltech Lexington Distillery. And they make all sorts of spirits. And on the show so far, we've had the Town Branch Bourbon, which was week 1. Week 2 was followed by the Purse
Lion.
Lion. It's an
missed.
American
Malt whiskey.
malt whiskey.
I'm going to have to go back and try
It's like
that
a scotch.
because I missed it.
And then last week we had a very popular drink. We've gotten killer reviews online, Twitter. A lot of people's lives have changed because
I think Adam's
of
drinking one right now.
the Bluegrass Sundown, which is actually amazing. Adam's in Studio B control room sipping on a Bluegrass Sundown. It's literally hot bourbon and cream,
Coffee
and it's just
delicious.
beautiful.
For fans of Bailey's.
So
Yeah.
today we rounded out with Lexington Distillery's hallmark product, Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale. It is a beer aged in oak bourbon barrels. It has a great bourbon flavor, and boy, am I excited to be drinking this.
You see this stuff everywhere, by the way.
All the time.
No matter what bar you go to in the Midwest or
Yeah.
the South, this is there.
It's taken a nation by storm.
It's good.
So another thing that
Hefty,
is taking the nation by storm is the FDB podcast.
Really.
We just
And
got
what-
awesome stuff going
What do you
on.
mean by that?
I don't know. I mean, I just feel like things are really happening. A lot of listeners are enjoying the show. People are saying they feel like they're a part of a community, and that's what we wanted, buddy.
It's exactly what I wanted. And we're just going to keep doing what we do. But
What is that? What do we do?
what do? We have great guests with giveaways and alcohol, with bourbon guests and
Yeah.
film and whatever.
Now you got something in
got
store for us today.
A big surprise for you and our listeners.
What is happening today?
So, I've got a indie film director, Brad Boris, who has
Nice.
directed a fantastic feature-length documentary that's getting lots of acclaim.
Sweet.
Yeah, and I wanted him to come on the show and tell us a little bit about him, about his product, about filmmaking in general.
And he's a
So-
fan of the show, right?
He's a fan of the show.
All
I
right.
guess,
Well,
yeah.
let's get him on the phone.
Yeah,
Let's try it out.
Do what you do and get him on.
Yeah, let's. Well, Adam's he's tweaking a few things. Get those sparks going in there. Boop, 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 boop.
Brad.
You there?
I'm here. What's
Hey,
up,
what's up, man?
Hey, there he is.
Didn't know if we'd get through. Our phone line's a little sketchy here.
Yeah, you got to do all this crank and wiring stuff.
I know, and I'm on a landline on the other end. So
Ah,
Whoa,
nice.
What's a landline?
Yeah, what land are you at?
I know it's. I can't
Ancient
chase
technology.
around. I'm like tied to the phone with a cord. I haven't done this since I was like a teenager, maybe.
You should sit down
Nice.
and pour some bourbon and
Are you
relax.
are you on what time zone are you in? Where you at?
I'm Eastern.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
I'm in a cabin in Loudonville area.
Yep.
Nice.
Roughing it. He's roughing
That
it.
sounds fun.
Sweet, dude. Well, welcome to the show. You and I know each other from a few years back. We actually worked on a project together a long time ago, and I heard about this sweet project that you were doing. So, can you first off tell us a little bit about you and about what your project is?
Yeah, who's this Brad guy all about?
Yeah, so we met working a gig up in Cleveland, and I had just wrapped shooting this doc. And the doc started in 2011. I was living in LA at the time and was working in a post house, very, very unfulfilling work. I wanted to be out shooting, making stuff, and I was mostly locked up in a cave editing infomercials.
Ooh, I know that
My
feeling.
career wasn't going how I wanted. So at the time, I switch out of post and start working for the LA Film Fest. really at my wits of even living in Los Angeles and wanting to make docs. It didn't really make that much sense to be out there in the first place. But, you know, I moved there after college thinking it was the right move as a filmmaker. So I meet this boxer who's volunteering for the LA Film Fest, and he's depressed, down and out, overweight dude. He hasn't fought in 15 years. Just kind of a journeyman guy, just kind of a wanderer, and he tells me his life story. He's 40 years old. He's having a midlife crisis, and he says he's looking for boxing gyms, and he wants to get this pro fight that he never had. And it's just, you know, something that's, I'm thinking this is interesting, but, you know, is this guy for real? Is he just talking? So, you know, I tell him if he finds a gym, I want to start filming. We'll see where it goes. So that's what happened, and in just a very kind of organic, slow way, he just kept going to the gym, kept training, kept getting his ass kicked. I can cuss on here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. We throw up a little indicator or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to arrest us.
Yes, but so
Free
he was
speech.
just so determined, and then I find out about his kids and the fact that he's not in their lives, and he's been seeking out, making contact with them. So all these things sort of came together like the perfect storm. And the deeper that I got into this, the more I'm taking it serious and thinking, you know, this is actually something that could be bigger than I ever thought it could be. So that led us to him moving to New Orleans to track down his son. So I uproot out of LA, keep filming the story. You know, just at this point, I'm like 6 months into the film, and I'm just like, how did I even end up
Where's this going?
at this point?
So you followed the story.
Yeah.
Because
Literally.
as a I love documentary as well. It's something that I see and I meet people, and I'm like, man, what's their story? And I think it's so cool that you chance upon this character, and not only did you want to know about his story, but then you kind of joined the story.
Yeah, it's exactly what happened. It's and it took me being at the right place in my life where I was literally on the wits of leaving LA. So, you know, I think if my career would have been going good, I wouldn't have committed to this story and to this guy and uprooted and followed him to New Orleans to film him. But it was just I was at a turning point in my life, and it allowed me to just say, you know, screw everything. I've been doing this unfulfilling work for 5 years. I'm going to just dedicate and do a passion project.
Yeah, do something for yourself.
So
for sure.
what did the New Orleans turn into? How long were you in New Orleans? Like, what was it like? Are you like with this guy 24/7? Did you guys have a schedule of when you would film with him, or he would call you if something cool was going to happen? How did that work?
Yeah, you know, we had a friendship from the beginning, just from when, you know, I met him and he was just opening up to me and, you know, telling me all these details about his life. And just when you film someone in an intimate way like that, you form a bond. So it was very casual. I mean, when I was down in New Orleans, I was actively looking for paying jobs at the same time, and there's a decent amount of film stuff happening. But I would also come back up to Ohio when I would run out of money and find work here. And I would just go to the gym as much as I could and film him, and then I would film him as much as I could with his son. And he was always open to me filming, so if I wanted to be there to film, like, he was cool with it, which, you know, it takes the right type of person to open up their life so much. And I think him being this underdog, kind of downtrodden guy, when somebody's finally like, I like your story, I want to get it out to the world, he just embraced that.
Yeah, it gives them a little bit of hope.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's cool.
So you say you guys were, you know, filming sporadically and, you know, all the time and all this stuff. What were you guys filming on? What did you shoot on?
Oh, man. It's almost embarrassing now.
Ah, no.
You know, I started on a Panasonic DVX.
Standard def.
Nice.
In 2011.
Nice.
Which was still a dinosaur camera back then.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it started getting good, I said, I got to upgrade. And I really wanted to just stay with a camcorder just for the simplicity. So then I would say the last 3/4 of the film is on a HPX.
Oh, okay, so you upped it to HD.
Yeah.
There you go.
And, I mean, if I was shooting it today, I would be on a C100.
No doubt. Yeah,
But-
Brandon's a huge fan of the C100.
Yeah, it's my baby.
Yeah. But I will say having that massive camcorder zoom and shooting usually with one camera, like, I mean, that was the only benefit, and it's a gritty film, so I think the look fits the story.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
Well, not only that, it seems like if you've got that much footage, it's gonna actually add to it to give that sort of dated look a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of situations filming on the fly where if I was on a C100 going from trying to pop a 24 to 70 and then a 70 to 200, like I would have
Yeah.
missed stuff. We're
You just
having
don't
that
have the
huge
range.
camcorder zoom, just being able to pop from wide to, super tight. It was definitely
for sure.
beneficial.
Life doesn't usually give you a pause button.
Yeah.
No. So you're this is a boxing story. It's also a human story about his kids. I feel like if you say any more, you're gonna start giving away the ending. Is that important?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I want, like, as a listener, I'm at like right now, like there's a lot of boxing stories, right? So I just watched Southpaw.
It's a hot topic. Yeah.
Creed is about to release. What? Give us a little. I'm sure you've got a log line and all that sort of jazz. But what's your hook? What's going to make the listeners say, "Man, I can't wait to get my hands on that. I want to see what this Brad guy's been up to."
Well, I would have to say I think can go down as a classic boxing film. It is a documentary, but being that we filmed, in this verite style in the moment, and just the beauty of the way that things transpired, it definitely follows a great natural arc. And, there's these plot points that are just unreal. And when I watch it now, I'm just thinking, like, I can't believe things happen like that,
Yeah.
because
It's the magic of documentary. Yeah.
Wow, man, that's I'm excited. I know you don't want to give it all away, but that's exciting to hear that some cool stuff happened along the way. And I think that people don't realize how difficult documentary is. It's a painstaking process of just sticking with the story long enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every setback that Dino had was just devastating to me because I'm just investing more time and money, but it's doing such great things for the story. So it's like this is constant duality of this
Investment.
is awful, but knowing when I go in and cut it, it's going to be great. And it worked out so well because it was like, I don't want to give anything away, but it was like I was almost at my breaking point. I know some filmmakers put in 8-10 years on a doc, and it's just like I just don't think I could do that. We put in 2 years, and without giving anything away, I think our arc was complete when we wrapped out.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
when I met you were talking about how you just completed the film, and that was in 2013.
Yeah.
So can you take us through the process after you're done? You've got this great story. It's cut together. It's beautiful. What happens next?
Yeah, what'd you do with it? Did you go film festival? Did you who saw it and why only now can we promote it?
Yeah, well, we had the highest aspirations for the film, and we submitted to the biggest festivals, and we got rejected by all of them. And then you just get kind of knocked down, humbled, put you back at square one, and then you say, maybe some of these awesome second-tier festivals will show it. And that's where we really found our audience. We won the jury award at the New Orleans Film Fest.
Wow,
Congrats.
that's great.
New Hampshire Film Fest, and everybody gets all jacked up about Sundance and Tribeca and South by Southwest, but it's a filmmaker's pipe dream, and it's not that nobody gets into those festivals, but it's just don't live or die on those hopes.
Yeah.
And know that there's this huge community outside of that little niche of what people think is like the only way to get an indie film out.
Absolutely.
So
Did you guys
after we had our nice festival run, just through mutual connections and in having kind of the resume of winning awards, we got a deal set up with Something Creative, which is a small VOD distribution company out of LA, and they're an up-and-coming company. They got some films out, but they're a perfect fit for us because, you're not going to get Lionsgate or Weinstein your
Not
first
right out of
time
the
out.
box,
So you have to find a company that's small and that's hungry.
what do you mean, for the listeners, what do you mean VOD? Video on demand?
Yeah.
Okay. So are they're a distribution company? Like, or they have like a website where they're streaming it, or they're hooking it up to other places like Crackle and stuff like that?
Yeah, their focus is, ultimately getting the film on Netflix.
Okay.
But then beneath that, iTunes, Vimeo on demand,
Sure.
Amazon.
So how did you find them? Because I think there's a lot of filmmakers listening today. I myself am interested. You create a great doc, you create a great film, and you know your place in the world. You know you're not going to be a national theater release, but you'd really like to get it on Netflix, so to speak. I'm assuming you were in a similar place. How did you? Was it just through knowing people and connections, or did you know of these type of distribution places? How do you know which is the right one to go with? Did the contract scare you? There's just a lot going on there. Talk us through that.
Yeah, after some of the film fests, we got calls from other companies that we just didn't get a good vibe from. They wanted money up front. They looked like they were just big farm out film kind of distributors that just try to sign anything. So we passed on a lot of people that called, and then through Kevin DeVore, who was an editor and producer, it was just, the way that things usually work in this industry, somebody he went to high school with knew somebody that worked there, was able to get the film to them.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What's funny is that, speaking of relationships and weirdness, Kevin is actually my wife's cousin.
Yeah.
We're all connected. So what made you want to go with them? At what point were you like, okay, this sounds legit. I think they'll help us get it seen and visible. Yeah. What was the thing that, that was different about that experience versus some of the bigger box places that you thought you were going to be a one and done with them?
They would take the time to really talk to me on the phone, and they were realistic about their expectations with the film. And when you're from the Midwest, like, you're a realist, and some of these other people were just kind of like talking up this big game, but I wasn't really seeing it backed up on their portfolios, where SK was just like, we're young, we don't have the greatest portfolio yet, but we're hungry, we're eager to get great films right now. Didn't want any money up front. They wanted a little higher percentage on the back end, but that to me shows that they're going to work to make their money, and they're not just going to want money up front. So
yeah,
that's the type of thing that just really stuck out to me with them.
For sure. So what have they been able to do for you? Where is it now?
Well, once we signed, they just took off with it, and the biggest thing that they did, which I think a lot of docs like this need, is they reached out to some athlete-type celebrity personalities to come on as an ambassador, and they were able to get Meta World Peace.
Nice.
To attach to the film.
Yeah. So, he comes on late as an executive producer, and he's basically somebody who the story really touched him, and he really related to it. So it wasn't just like him doing someone a favor. He watched the film. I think he said he watched it 3 times in one weekend and was just enamored by it. So, so just having him has been great. It opens up so many opportunities to get press and.
Yeah, that's a huge endorsement.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? And I'd like to know your feedback too, because you know the work you put in, and you trust and and you feel in your heart that this film is worthwhile. But there's a lot of people who would throw it maybe under the bus, but as soon as you attach a celebrity's name to it, then all of a sudden it has value. How did that make you feel, or how does that thinking? How should our listeners and people either just embrace that philosophy or deal with that? Because to me, as a filmmaker, I think sometimes that's frustrating that all of a sudden, there's all these great films out there that could be amazing and just beautiful and life-changing, but we'll never get to see them unless something miraculous happens. I mean, obviously you've done a hard amount of work and aligned the right people, and all the stars aligned for you, and it sounds like some really great things are happening. I can't wait to see the film. But what is that like? And how weird is it that all of a sudden these doors are opening with this guy attached to it?
Yeah, it's hard to really embrace that philosophy and the way the industry works. I mean, when I was in the thick of production, or even when we were grinding the cutout, that would have just been such a turnoff to me, or I would have thought that was ridiculous or absurd. The idealism of the filmmaker, this film is great on its own. We don't need celebrities or endorsements. But once you sit around for a year and watch your film kind of teeter on the brink of going into oblivion, like, you just get so desperate that it's the greatest idea in the world, and you just jump on board, like, so it's...
The end goal is to get it seen, so kind of whatever it takes, right?
Yeah.
Get eyeballs on this
I
thing.
do think that's cool, though, that, I like the philosophy, and, if a film needs exposure from some sense of celebrity, and a celebrity is not in the film, attaching a celebrity who either appreciates it, gets it, or whatever, and you're allowed to use or leverage their celebrity, their name, it seems like a great way to go for young filmmakers out there, as they think about stuff is, hey, you don't need so-and-so in your film. You just need them to tell people it's good.
To promote it, yeah.
Yeah, and with Meta, I mean, he was sincerely just moved by the film. His dad was a boxer.
That's cool.
His dad also wasn't the greatest figure in his life.
That's not cool.
He's had some turmoil in his life, similar to Dino. He's got some kids. He's ultimately at a point where he's changed his life for the better. So I think if they would have just thrown out some name, and the person didn't have the right personal connection, it wouldn't have felt right. But with him, it was like we talked to him, and you could just tell that it was sincere.
Nice.
That's cool, man.
That's what's important. So what's
now,
next?
Let me throw out a question. And this isn't to be insensitive, and I don't want to take away from the meaning of it, but was he paid for his celebrity, or were they able to leverage an endorsement just based on the story, or was there like, hey, I like your story, but here's my fee?
Probably a percentage thing, I'm sure.
He's getting a very small percentage, and he's getting the credit, which, if he ultimately, after his basketball career, decides to pursue the film industry, it's an executive producer credit is a good credit to have. So, but yeah, I don't think any of that really mattered to him.
Yeah.
I think that was just kind of standard business, and at the end of the day, he just wanted to be a part of it because of the connection.
Sure. That's cool. I just asked that because I know a lot of listeners are probably on the other end going, well, how'd they do that, and what did that cost, and all that sort of stuff. It's one of those.
It's all about money.
Totally. I think, there were some other names they were reaching out to, some boxers and some people from the film world, but I think it ultimately would have came down to a deal a little more like that with a fee, and we were not about that at all. So
yeah,
I think that's the cool thing about documentary, though, is it's mostly, you have these humanity-driven stories and life lessons and all this stuff, and it's, I don't know, a little less corporate,
Yeah.
It draws a more thinking crowd.
Did you guys submit to Hot Docs? Did you guys get the screen in Toronto?
We did submit and did not get in.
Yeah, Hot Docs it's like the Sundance of documentary. But if you have ever had a chance, we were up there for the documentary challenge. We used to do all the time, and we made it into the finals a couple years. But it's just a fun atmosphere to be in, where literally it's like the only place on earth where people go to like embrace documentary. They have a theater, I think it's called the Broadmoor, in Toronto that only shows documentaries. It's pretty cool. And so we got to watch the premiere of Point and Shoot. We got to watch the premiere of the what's his name, the atheist magician guy with the beard.
Oh yeah.
With the beard, what's his name? The Great Randy, Amazing Randy.
Yeah.
We got to watch the premiere of that, and he was actually there, so he came out on the stage, and it was just an electrifying experience, really cool. And then I've also done some of the smaller experiences as well. So, and I think those two are some of the ones you mentioned. New Hampshire, I haven't done that. I did a small one in Chicago and done one in Brooklyn. Those are a lot of fun because everything's so accessible, everybody's there, and it's just a real sense of community. Did you get that same sense in New Hampshire and in some of the other smaller film festivals you were at?
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I haven't been to a lot of big ones, so I can't really judge them. But just from what I've heard, there's no BS at these smaller ones. It's just a genuine audience that's just looking for, just some cutting edge films that they're not going to see in the mainstream. And, I think some of the bigger ones they do what they can to hang on to their integrity, but they've ultimately have sort of blended with the Hollywood mode. And
sure. It's kind of a pay to play. Like, if you're going to have X amount of films with major Hollywood stars, they're all going to premiere there. There's going to be big parties. It's kind of like, it's all kind of it's like an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
This will be the new Iron Man film, and Robert Downey will be there, and then he will win an Oscar for his performance, and it's kind of like, F you. That's what I think. I like the small guys, so I'm excited. Yeah. I want to tell the listeners, because they're dying right now, the name of the film. What is the name of this film?
When the Bell Rings.
When the Bell
all right.
Rings. And where can they find it right now, at this moment?
iTunes.
Awesome. So it's on iTunes.
Yeah, we released yesterday on the 24th.
So can I rent it? Can I buy it? What can I do on iTunes?
You can buy it. You can rent it.
So when I rent this film, I'm contributing to your hard work, your income as a filmmaker.
Exactly.
Dude, this is awesome.
Good to hear.
I love that, and I think our listeners love that. I think that as filmmakers, as a community, we have to keep in mind and remember that these services, these streamings, whenever we rent, like, filmmakers are making a living. People are getting paid. Things are happening. Yes, you can go and rip any film you want from anywhere and
Doesn't help anybody, though.
But guess what? We're hurting the community, and I think it's so cool today to have heard some of your story, talk about this film, and I'm going to get to go home and rent it and be like, I know this guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
we talked to him earlier
today. And our listeners are going to be like, yeah, I listened to him, and he was on the show, and that's so cool. So that's just, what a great story, man.
Story. What's next for you? So outside of this film, we know where this is going. It's got a long life, in Netflix, iTunes, etc. But what's next for you? You have another project up your sleeve?
There's a couple ideas that are being tossed around right now. I can't talk about them too much. One is, it's got a sports theme. It's got a similar approach, kind of following a team. And it's very, very, it's in the very beginning stages, but...
are you sticking in the documentary realm now?
Yeah, I'm doc for life now.
There you go.
It's so good to hear.
I kind of fantasize with narrative, and
yeah.
The more that I've been exposed to, documentary genre has just blown up, and there's so many different styles and techniques that you can use now in the cameras. It's just a different game than it was maybe 10, 15 years ago, and it just makes it more exciting as a filmmaker, I think. So I've just kind of slowly grown, more interested in docs, and then after going out and shooting one, just, being immersed in it, I think I'm doc for life.
You fell in love.
Let me ask you this, because I'm, you're actually, you have no clue how much inspiration you're giving me right now. Because I've got multiple ideas, and I've got one that I'm obsessed with that I'm gonna pursue. That's all there is to it, especially after hearing you talk. But how did you? Was it just you? Like, did you just do this whole thing like yourself? You edited it, you filmed it. Did you bring on, crew? Did you, depending on the setups, you scaled up? And then, if so, how did you fund it?
It's a great question. In the beginning, it was just me and that DVX camera. And like I said, the more serious that it became, the more it became necessary to kind of bring other people in. We did a couple Kickstarter campaigns, and they never covered everything by any means. Like, I was really picking up gigs down in New Orleans, but it wasn't enough. I would come up to Ohio and work construction for a month and go back down to New Orleans and freelance editing. So it was really just funded by whatever means possible.
Wow, man, that's so inspiring, man. That's just pretty rad to think about. You were,
and the nature. It's like it was a liberating shoot because it was just me and a camera and a shotgun and a lav, and you just go out. So once you have the tools, it's your time. But there wasn't huge production costs except just the dedication of time. And so many great people. It's just like down in New Orleans, I would, meet. I'd go out, go to events. There's film groups and such down there, and just connect with somebody. They'd come out and shoot. They bring out a DSLR. So it'd be like, okay, now we can get, some slider shots. We can add a little style to this, someone would bring out a 7D. It's like, well, we can shoot some 60 frames per second. We can get a little slow-mo. So it was, and you can totally feel that in the cut. I mean, when I watch it, I'm learning to make a documentary as the film progresses. And fortunately, it's all in chronological order, so it only gets better. It's not like I shot something at the beginning that happens at the end. But, it's hard for me to watch the first 20 minutes because it's like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like, and then towards the end, it's like, Tony Ledette, someone from New Orleans, he was coming out and shooting with me, and we just kind of got locked in on the style. We were watching a lot of Friday Night Lights on Netflix.
Yeah. And
just breaking down, just getting that real, just kind of locked in, gritty doc style. Nice.
Did you shoot some high shutter speed stuff? In the ring? Like, what would you do in the ring?
There's not a lot of stylized stuff. I mean, for the most part, there's just some 60 frame slow-mo. But, I mean, most of it's just, straight up, just shooting, regular shutter, just this guy's day-to-day grind.
Like you said, verite, just showing what happens, man. Yeah. This is his struggle. Watch and enjoy.
I feel like I can hear the day-to-day grind in your voice, Brad. I feel like...
Dude, yeah. I mean, you could tell he put his entire soul into this film, and it seems to have paid off, man. So I just want to say congrats.
Yeah, and we're stoked, man. This is probably one of my favorite episodes so far. I really enjoy hearing your story. I know the listeners are going to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a real filmmaker right here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome, guys, to hear that from you. And like, I said before, I'm a huge fan. It's an honor to be on. And, I mean, I've learned so much. I mean, every episode, I always take one thing out of it, even if it's just like a new bourbon. But there's always something.
There you go. That's our goal.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
That's awesome, man.
Hey, thank you so much for coming on and telling your story. Again, tell our listeners the name of the film and where they can find it right now.
Name of the film is When the Bell Rings, and if you go to iTunes, search that, you will find it. You can rent it, you can buy it, you can get HD, SD, every option's covered.
Awesome. So go do that. Support filmmaking, indie filmmaking,
and we'll put those
documentary.
We'll put the links on FDBpodcast.com. Your source for independent filmmakers, interviews, whatever you want, man.
Brad,
this is where it happens.
What about you, man? Where can people find you? Where can they, if they want to ask you questions about the film?
Or if they want to hire you.
Where can they go?
I have my own website, Brad Boris Films. Mm-hmm. That'd probably be the best spot. Facebook, Instagram. I'm out there. You can find me.
Sweet. Well, we'll throw all that stuff up on the website so people can find it and try not to misspell anything.
Awesome.
Well, cool. Well, enjoy your Thanksgiving now, and we will be watching your film over the break and promoting the crap out of it. So.
Yeah, man. Let's stay in touch, and if you're ever here in town, let's all get together.
Definitely.
Cool,
Midwest
man.
filmmakers got to stick together.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Well, thanks so much, man.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Have
See
a good
you,
one.
bud.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Man,
When the bell rings.
I like that guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. Dude,
Yeah.
I
feel like he's part of. He's like he doesn't. He might not feel it, but I feel a connection.
I mean,
Yeah,
you're both born from the same doc kind of.
Yeah, I'm so
fibers.
inspired right now to go make my first feature length documentary.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember meeting him on that shoot, over 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and he was so like into this thing. I was like, all right, well, he's got the drive. That's there.
Yeah.
And just to see it kind of all come together. Now it's on iTunes. He's with a video distribution house and Meta World Peace endorsing the film.
Crazy.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, what a great treat. Thanks for setting that up, Alex.
You're welcome. Yeah, happy
to be,
Thanksgiving, buddy.
Man, what a nice Thanksgiving treat.
I'm thankful for our friendship and our partnership.
Yeah, it's been good. Well, in the we have another, maybe a similar story. Adam here at the studio, he did sound for a feature-length documentary that's gotten great reviews. It's being distributed all over the world. And I believe, I don't know, can I talk about it? I don't know if I won't talk about it. It's about somebody in music who is great in music in the music world.
Yeah.
And
it's appropriate that he did sound on it then.
Yeah. And so he is gonna get that person, the director, the person who brought it together, on the show. We're gonna hear their experience telling the story of a modern day classic, I believe.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Yeah. I mean, he's been setting this up for a while.
But so actually, Adam's.
Let's get in here. Yeah, Adam, come in here.
Adam's gonna come in just to talk about this because I know you guys like hearing this type of content, and we definitely have this confirmed. It's going to happen in the new year. Adam, tease us a little bit with your filmmaking guest that you're going to be able to bring on the show.
All right, so he's a friend of mine. Well, we started off as clients, somebody we work with, and end up becoming really great friends. Really great movie. I can't go too far into it, but it involves some of the biggest names in classical music.
Wow.
Global talent.
Yeah.
A similar situation though, follows somebody over a course of a few years. I don't want to spoil it for his story because it's an incredible story. So
don't spoil it.
You're starting to see parallels though. You'll see between these guys who have the passion that they get the story some way, and you'll see. So.
Real life often meshes with the life on screen in documentary. It's like you become part of the story, whether you want to or not.
Yes.
So
in major ways.
That's great. Well, that's awesome, Adam. So
it'll be a good one.
It's good to have you on the show, Adam.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. And sitting in a booth, sipping coffee,
sipping the bluegrass sundown.
Pretty beautiful.
Yeah. Let's just keep calling it coffee. So if
it's just coffee.
While you're at work, while you're on set, it's just coffee.
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody around here since last week. Well, since the last episode, 2 episodes back, has been all over it. Like come 5 o'clock, you hear someone making coffee. Like, what do you make? Oh,
you're making coffee.
I
all
get
right.
it. Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
cool, man.
Right on.
Excellent. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into that. Hopefully, so we're excited for that to happen. So, Thanksgiving's
coffee,
tomorrow.
by the way.
Thanksgiving's tomorrow.
It was yesterday when they hear this.
Thanksgiving is yesterday. It's like a whole verb tense thing.
Yeah, I hope it was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it was good.
Yeah, it will be good. It was good.
It was great.
Yeah. So speaking of that, why don't we do this? Let's name 3 things from this podcast that you're thankful for.
Oh wow, man, you're getting introspective.
I am.
Well, I'm thankful first and foremost that we're doing the podcast.
Yeah.
We talked about the podcast for so long, and finally we did, and I really enjoy this hour of my week more than anything else.
It's because of me.
Well, it's because I love you.
It's because you get to see me.
But it is because it's so rewarding to just unload and talk about stuff, knowing that we have a listenership who,
well, like Brad said, that gets to take away maybe one thing,
and it gives
each
them
episode.
a place to feel connected.
Yeah, community.
And so I really like that. My number 2 is probably a huge thanks and a huge gratefulness to Adam Plyman and the team at Sound Images. They took and they saw in us something unique and interesting and an audience that appealed to them, and they have made it amazing experience. I mean, we are in a world-class recording studio on $1,000 microphones.
Yeah,
drinking bourbon.
How did we get
here? And we
here?
have an engineer typically in Dave who like sets it all up.
A master of his craft.
It's just blowing my mind.
Yeah.
So we love Sound Images, what they've been doing. You hear it at the end of every show, brought to you by Sound Images. If you're out there and if you need help with your post, if you've got a short film, if you've got something where you just need that little extra spice to top it off, call the guys at Sound Images. They work with people from all over the country.
They kind of know what they're doing. Just
that would be my 2. My last thing would probably be that, I don't know, that's really only 2. I'm grateful for the bourbon companies who always are so cool with giving us
part of the show.
And supplying us bourbon. And it's just a lot of fun to, in the middle of the week, come take a little sippy.
Yep.
And chat.
Enjoy it. And this week happens to be All-Tech Kentucky Ale.
Yeah, the Kentucky Distillery. So it's a great thing. What about you? What are your 3?
My 3 favorites. So number 1, obviously, is the listenership. Just the people that actually are supporting us and that do take away something for this. They give us a reason to do it. If no one's listening, why are we doing it? You know?
Good point.
Yeah. So that's number 1. Number 2 is our interviews. The people that come on the show, they give a little piece of themselves, like Brad today, or any of the fantastic people we've had before. They come and they give us insight into how they've reached the point that they're at now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, even the companies, they have such unique points of view and
sure.
what they're passionate about, and so it's neat to hear from all aspects.
Exactly.
That's cool.
And then number 3 is you, my friend.
Oh man.
Yeah. We've got a good thing going. So cheers.
Cheers to you.
Cheers
buddy.
to that.
Cheers to you.
So happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
to
Thanksgiving.
All. Yeah.
And I think that wraps up the show today.
I know. We got more stuff coming. We've only got a few more episodes before the end of the year.
I know. We're going into 2016.
I know. We're gonna be taking a little break throughout the holidays.
Yeah, we've got big plans. Lots of stuff happening. Lots of things going on. Lots of projects. Infinite amount of people who we need to get on the show.
Exactly.
More stories like Brad's.
Yeah.
More great
stories from different areas, like out from Saudi Arabia. Like I want to hear
what's going on in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
It's amazing.
We have listenership there. We're going to find them.
Yes, but anyway, so going into your break, going into your Thanksgiving, you've got the weekend coming up, your belly full of turkey.
Yes.
Go watch When the Bell Rings on iTunes.
Yeah, check it out. You can also go to ftbpodcast.com.
We'll have all the links.
And see what all's there. And
it's going to be good. Let us know what you think. Hit us up. Go contact Brad. Tell him good job.
Yeah.
We love you. Anyway.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Cheers.
This podcast was recorded live at Sound Images Studio. Find out more at soundimages.com.